Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
A massive fire rips right through an apartment complex, and now crews are digging through what's left of it to find out how it started.
Uvalde, Sutherland Springs, El Paso, places that saw senseless mass shootings. They're also all in the San Antonio division of the FBI. Tonight, we hear from the man in charge, why he says community involvement is crucial to try to prevent these shootings.
And have you ever wondered what it takes to be a Bexar County Sheriff's deputy? Well, tonight, you're going to get an up-close view of BCSO training. But first,
a nearly 13-hour wait finally seems to be coming to an end. Families of the Robb Elementary victims have spent the day waiting for their chance to testify before state lawmakers in Austin.
Now, those families say that they have been at the state capitol since early this morning, waiting to speak on several pieces of gun legislation. The Night Team's Patty Santos joins us now. And Patty, the families just say that they're frustrated.
Yeah, especially since it's taken practically all day to be able to speak. We know that the Community Safety Select Committee started hearing at about 9 a.m. After an hour, they went into recess and didn't come back until about 7:30 tonight. That's just a few hours ago. But take a look. You're taking a live look at the committee hearing right now. We know that House Bill 2744, they're already starting to hear testimony for this. This is one of the biggest bills in question right now. This bill would raise the age to buy a semi-automatic rifle to 21 years old. That is something families have been fighting for since the shooting at Robb Elementary last May. The legislation was among more than a dozen bills on the committee's agenda for the day. Brett Cross, who was a father of one of the victims, has tweeted his frustration over this delay. He spoke to KSAT just after 6 o'clock before the committee went back for its hearing. Take a listen.
We're used to people trying to get us to shut up, and they will find out quickly, just like everybody else, that we do not back down. We do not shut up. We are fighting for our kids and for kids across the state. I'm going to make enough noise so that they will hear us, because we're not going away. If I have to sleep here tonight, I will.
Again, the testimony for this bill just started, although we know that the families have not been able to speak just yet, because that just started just a few minutes before our newscast started. There are several other bills that are also on the table that are going to be discussed tonight in tonight's hearing. We have a breakdown of all those bills on KSAT.com. Steve, Stefania.
Patty, thank you. Switching gears right now, look at that black smoke. So much of it could be seen shooting into the sky from miles away. That was the scene around 5 o'clock today at an apartment complex on the city's southeast side on Pecan Valley Drive.
That building was actually empty at the time because it was in the process of being renovated. Crews tell us it took them several minutes just to tap into nearby hydrants. They were eventually able to get all the flames knocked out.
Nobody was hurt in the fire, and damages are said to be around $250,000. But right now, we're working to find out what started that fire, and we will update you just as soon as we get that information. Now, we're asking the same question after flames broke out at a Northwest Side home. This is on Cougar Rock Drive near I-10 and Vance Jackson. Crews say the people inside got out without getting hurt. Now, your wallet may be feeling a little lighter these days as gas prices continue to rise. We know that prices here in San Antonio have jumped at least 15 cents over the past week. That's according to the fuel price app Gas Buddy. One of its experts says that while the jump in prices is fairly normal, there are a few contributing factors. That includes a rise in demand, maintenance at refineries, and also the transition to the summer blend of gasoline. And here's the thing, the price hike may not be over just yet.
We could see gas prices continuing to inch up a little bit more. The good news is we're not too far off. We still have 3 to 6 weeks potentially before we see a peak. But the good news is once refineries get back online, we tend to see a good bit of relief, typically going into July 4.
Now, Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says that crude oil prices have also jumped recently, and that comes after exporters with the international cartel OPEC cut production. Those prices hit a new high for 2023 just last week. So let's talk locally, though. Right now, San Antonio drivers, they're paying an average of $3.34 a gallon. That matches the state average, also at $3.34. But look at that, still significantly lower than the national average, which is at $3.65 a gallon.
What does it take to protect and serve in Bexar County?
The night team's John Paul Barajas got a firsthand look at the Bexar County Sheriff's Office's reality-based training. It's where deputies are put to the test in real-life scenarios.
And to see if they're up to the task of answering any call when it comes in. A top training priority, an active shooter at a school.
It's meant to look, sound, and feel real, to simulate the stress of a life or death situation. Reality-based training isn't new to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, but it constantly evolves to prepare deputies for the worst.
Active shooter calls are something that we all dread getting, but we all know that it's just a matter of time before we get one. And so we want to make sure that we're absolutely ready when the time comes.
Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar explains, in this exercise, deputies have to stop a threat inside a school. Scenarios pretend, but the goal is to get deputies to forget that.
Their adrenaline is going. They are actually feeling the sting of the ammunition rounds that we're hitting them with. Only then can we even come close to capturing what it's like in a real-world scenario.
Whoever arrives first makes entry and pushes forward.
We don't sit and wait. We don't wait for SWAT. We get in there and we handle business with what we have on hand.
After watching one scenario, they prepped me.
You ready to go have some fun?
And gave me a crash course. Then we got the call. I was tasked with going in first, checking rooms, but consistently moving towards the sound of gunshots.
We just finished up training, super intense. I did take some sim rounds, one to the eye, looks there, one to the bicep, and one to the back of the forearm. Thanks to my partner, we did neutralize the threat, but definitely a scary, intense situation.
I've been hearing things, and I think I got hacked.
Another vital part of training, responding to a call where mental health is a factor.
Greg, why don't you put that knife down for me?
Well, you can't graduate until you can successfully complete this. I mean, that's not something we can afford to send somebody out into the real world, knowing full well that they weren't able to handle those scenarios.
John Paul Barajas.
All right, end scenario.
KSAT 12 News.
Let's talk medical news now. Another COVID-19 booster available to certain Americans. The FDA allowing an extra dose for people 65 years and older and those with weakened immune systems. The Omicron targeted vaccine has to be given at least 4 months from the last dose for those 65 and up, and 2 months from the last dose for those with weakened immune systems.
We had a few showers out there earlier, nothing on the radar screen right now, but there will be a bit of dampness for the morning commute, some more drizzle on the way, some fog, and even more storm chances to talk about for the days ahead, but especially a cold front that hits on Friday that's really going to affect your weekend. I'll tell you how in more detail in just a bit.
Thanks, Adam. And now for a look at some of today's big headlines in your Nightbeat news flash. A terrifying scene in New York City today after a parking garage partially collapsed. At least one person was killed. Several others got hurt. It happened in Lower Manhattan, where police and firefighters used robots and even a drone to try to search through all that debris. They say that everyone in the garage is believed to be accounted for, but it's unclear at this point what caused that collapse. A settlement has been reached in the high-stakes defamation trial between Dominion Voting Systems and Fox News. Dominion settled for $787 million, which is less than half of the $1.6 billion in damages that it had been seeking. The last-minute deal basically means the case is over. It's not going to go to trial. But as a result, top Fox executives and on-air talent will not have to testify about lies that the network promoted on election fraud. Now, Fox News released a statement today acknowledging that falsehoods were broadcast. Southwest Airlines says planes are taking off again after departures were held up because of what the airline calls an intermittent technical problem. The Federal Aviation Administration said today that Southwest asked the agency to pause its flights. The ground stop was brief, but it delayed almost half of all Southwest flights. The airline says that a firewall supplied by a vendor went down early today and the connection to some operational data was lost. The airline went on Twitter to apologize to the travelers whose flights were delayed. And that's a look at your Nightbeat News Flash.
All right, the countdown is on. 2 days in counting until Fiesta 2023 officially gets underway. And boy, are people making sure they have everything they need to be decked out for the big party with a purpose. This was the scene at Amol's downtown today. You can see the lines of people buying Fiesta's finest colors to show they are ready. So are you ready for Fiesta? If you scan this QR code on our screen, It'll take you to the KSAT, take you to KSAT.com for all things Fiesta. It's where you're going to find ticket prices, schedules, everything you need to know about our KSAT Insiders viewing parties as well.
Awesome. And we're going to see you there, too.
Ready.
Now, coming up, we have seen countless mass shootings in Texas, also across the country. But now we're hearing from the man in charge of the San Antonio division of the FBI and why he says that community involvement is key to stopping these senseless shootings. How you can help.
Sutherland Springs, El Paso, Uvalde. Mass shootings that hit Texas hard. It's not even mentioning the violence we've seen in the past few weeks nationwide. Tonight, the local head of the FBI is asking all of us to do more to stop these incidents before they happen. I sat down with the special agent in charge of the San Antonio division of the FBI, Oliver Rich, a former Navy pilot who landed here. We talk about the challenges facing his office and his challenge for everyone in the KSAT viewing area.
See something, say something, and then do something.
They are often in the shadows, like this FBI training exercise at the Alamo Dome. Darkened helicopters dropping faceless agents into dangerous scenarios. But for the man who's been in charge of the FBI's San Antonio division for almost a year now, he wants part of this to change. Secrecy has its place, but so does community.
So it's a community-based approach to addressing the potential for violence of someone. So if someone in the public calls and says this person might be a threat, then that information gets shared with the Fusion Center. The threat mitigation team will look at it.
And I realize you can't get too specific, but you have already seen this work.
In some cases, we ended up putting them into a mental facility, and then in some cases, we ended up arresting them. So we've seen it work.
It is called a threat mitigation team, a way to stop violence before it starts. Working with the San Antonio police and fire departments, they can respond to people's concerns in a coordinated way. It is one of the major changes Special Agent in Charge Oliver Rich has seen implemented since he took over, becoming the local face of the FBI. From Navy pilot to Special Agent in Charge of the San Antonio division of the FBI. When you think about it, those things do have something in common, a sense of duty.
The reason people come to work here is not because they're come to work and get rich. I mean, we all come to work here because we have a sense of duty and we're dedicated to being part of something that's bigger than us.
This former Navy pilot who first came to San Antonio to see his fellow midshipman David Robinson play basketball is now calling the Admiral's home his own. The San Antonio division of the FBI is huge. It stretches from Waco all the way to the border. And while they deal with all sorts of crime, Oliver Rich thinks violence and the threat of mass shootings are where the FBI can and is making a difference with help.
We have some incredible people here in San Antonio doing some incredible work. Oftentimes it's not in the news, but we know it and we're pushing information to partners and sharing and being collaborative in that way. But it's important work.
He tells me we're all in this together. You can reach the FBI on this number, 1-800-CALL-FBI, or online at tips.fbi.gov. There are the numbers and the way to reach them online. There's also a lot more of this interview where we touched on a number of subjects, from drugs to the border to him being a Navy man in a city where the Army and Air Force are so big. You can watch my entire interview with Special Agent in Charge Oliver Rich. It's about 20 minutes long. It's right now on our website, and it is the latest edition of Spriester Sessions.
Good piece. I'm glad that you did that.
He really wants people to reach out to the FBI, know that their tips will be taken seriously.
And this is it. He's getting his message out there.
Trying. Yeah.
Now, here's a live look at I-10 right now. 70 degrees and, not too bad out there. What we're talking about is the morning commute. How's that going to be?
It's going to be a little damp at times. We'll have some reduced visibility periodically and some passing areas of drizzle and even a few sprinkles. And we do have more storm chances, but then a cold front hits on Friday and it really changes things for the weekend. Here's what's going to be the most notable change. Our high temperatures will be going from the 80s tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, down into the 70s. So we go from 87 on Friday down to 74 for the high temperature on Saturday. And if you have outdoor plans on Saturday, it's really going to be the pick of the litter when it comes to outdoor activities and confidence in everything being pulled off just fine without any storm chances, but also lower humidity and comfortable conditions. Unseasonably cool, really, below average for this time of year at that point. But between now and then, we have more storm chances. We had one storm flare up earlier this evening, particularly over Bandera County. Just sat there for a little bit, dumped some rain, and then threw some clouds over San Antonio. And we still can have a sprinkle or two the rest of this evening, but for the most part, it's just low clouds and some of that misty drizzle from time to time. Other parts of Texas got some rain, especially East Texas. The big picture has a bit of an upper level swirl coming into Washington state, and that's going to pass to the north of us. It's not going to dig far enough south to really boost our rain chances. We don't have a large scale element that's going to add to our rain chances. But the main thing here is with this trophy pattern, these dips in the flow, it's basically the opposite of the big blue H. This is going to help pull some of that cooler air southward as we get into the upcoming weekend. As for rain chances, right now, our best shot is 30%. We have almost daily rain chances over the next 7 days, except Saturday at 0%. 20% tomorrow of a few storms in the afternoon. Thursday, a 30% chance. And if something does pop Thursday or even Friday with the cold front, there is the possibility that it could become severe. And then 20% chances Sunday all the way through the middle part of next week. All right, 70 degrees right now. Dew point is 64. The humidity's back up with that southeasterly wind. And it's going to be noticeable if you're outside tonight and first thing tomorrow. You'll notice that wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour, but it's going to reinforce that mugginess with these dew points in the 60s. And that's going to help add to that bit of dampness to start the day tomorrow. For the most part, we're looking at dew points in the 60s now, all the way through midday Friday. Then that front arrives and it pushes aside the humidity for Saturday and even a bit into Sunday, but especially for late Friday and all of Saturday. So I know Fiesta officially underway Thursday evening. Fiesta events with temperatures in the 60s and low humidity with full sunshine. It's not going to feel right out there, but Saturday, yeah, that's what we'll be looking at. So 68 in the morning, some fog and drizzle, 81 in the afternoon, a few peaks of sun, kind of like today. Southeasterly wind at 10 to 15. We'll make it up to 90 Carrizo Springs, 89 in Cotulla, Hondo 82 tomorrow along with Seguin, Helotes 79 along with Timberwood Park. There's that temperature drop. We get up to 87 on Friday, then the bottom falls out a bit, relative to this time of year. Lower 50s Saturday morning, 74 in the afternoon, nothing but sunshine, low humidity. The clouds fill back in a bit on Sunday with the off chance of a few showers at 20%, but still again near 50 in the morning, then a high of only 70 on Sunday. And look how long it takes us to really rebound. I know we have the Texas Cavaliers River Parade on Monday. Right now it's looking like a fairly gray day with the potential of some showers mixed in here and there, but mid 70s. We're not talking overheating like we sometimes do.
Okay, not too shabby. I'm digging it. Thank you.
All right, I remember when the Spurs got the #1 pick, which turned out to be Tim Duncan, and how everybody in the newsroom would just started chanting, Duncan,
I'm sure, right?
Duncan,
I wasn't
Duncan.
here for that, but I wish I was because it had to be.
It was exciting. I'm hoping to relive that.
Yeah,
there.
so right now we know the Spurs odds for picks 1 through 7. We already know number 1, they have a 14% chance. But what about 2 through 7? Plus, Troy Aikman is thrilled for DeMar Hamlin coming up.
I'm good. I'm good. Y'all drinking a beer?
We love to try one.
Yeah.
You got it on draft?
Yes.
Troy Aikman was mingling with fans here in town today while pumping up his own beer in Big Board Sports. The San Antonio Spurs got the green light today when it comes to playing more home games away from the AT&T Center. Bexar County commissioners are allowing them to play 3 home away from home games during each of the next 2 seasons. 2 of those will likely be in Austin at the Moody Center and 1 internationally. The Spurs recently played their final 2 home games in Austin on April 6th and 8th before closing out the regular season in Dallas. But some are wondering why those games in Austin were played so late in the season. Spurs Sports and Entertainment CEO R.C. Buford addressed that today.
We are working, building a puzzle that not only involves San Antonio and the AT&T Center, the NBA, but also the University of Texas and OBG. It's a puzzle that it's multiple different groups that we need to activate with, that we need to partner with to build it out in the best interest of everyone.
Yesterday, the Spurs lost a lottery tiebreaker to the Houston Rockets. Both finished with 22 and 60 records, and the tie was broken via a random drawing per the NBA. The Rockets are now considered the second worst team in the NBA, followed by the Spurs at 3. So now we have a better idea of the Spurs' odds for the top 7 picks. And just like the Rockets and Pistons, the Spurs own a 14% chance to win the first overall selection. Their chances drop slightly for picks 2, 3, and 4, then increase for picks 5 and 6, with 6 being their best shot at a 26% chance. The Silver and Black will pick no lower than 7th. The one and only Troy Aikman stopped by Perry's Pizzeria and Tap House to talk beer and football today. The 3-time Super Bowl champ is celebrating the 1-year anniversary of his beer, 8 Elite Light Lager. He says he's proud of his beer and its early success. While visiting with Troy, we had the chance to ask him about Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin, who was cleared to play football again.
I was at that game when it happened, and we weren't real sure he was going to be alive when he left the field. And so to be able to survive that and now have the ability to come back and resume his football career is just phenomenal. I mean, a lot of prayers answered. I know that I speak for the country, that everyone's rejoicing that he's going to be able to come back and play.
Hamlin has taken part in the Bills' voluntary workout program some 4 months after going into cardiac arrest and having to be resuscitated on the field during a Monday night game. Number 25, UTSA baseball set for an I-35 showdown against Texas State at home tonight. Bobcats up 1-0 in the top of the 5th. 2 out, 1 on. Davis Powell drives one deep to center. That's gone for a 2-run homer, and Texas State leads 3-0. Top of the 6th, up 3-1. Cade Manning rips a shot down the right field line. 2 runs come in to score. Back-to-back 2-run innings make it 5-1 Bobcats. Roadrunners answer back in the bottom of the 5th. Josh Killeen knocks a base hit in the left. Matt King rounds 3rd, and he will score, but UTSA can't complete the comeback. Texas State wins their 5th straight game, 5-3.
Davis came up with a really clutch hit and got us going, and so finally got us to take a deep breath a little bit and go play.
Big momentum shift. That's obviously a good team, and we'll hopefully carry it into this weekend against Troy.
Texas State travels to Troy for a 3-game series starting on Friday, and UTSA will head to Florida International. A Sasquatch sighting at the Rangers game tonight after the break. The Rangers played at the Royals tonight, where Sasquatch was caught on camera walking along the left field wall at Kauffman Stadium. So this big hairy dude is actually named Pasquatch after Royals first baseman Vinny Pasquantino. One of his many nicknames is Pasquatch. So every time Vinny gets on base, Pasquatch comes out for a stroll. Now, that's a tradition I can certainly get behind. Top of the 8th inning, Rangers' Adolis Garcia crushes a 3-run homer 400 feet to left field, and the Rangers rout the Royals 12-2, and poor Pasquatch must be sad. Blue Jays playing the Astros in Houston. Top of the 4th, no score, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. goes big fly to the opposite field. Solo job, his 3rd on the season. Blue Jays lead 1-0. 2 batters later, Matt Chapman, well, he does the same thing as well, knocking a solo homer to the fans in right field, and it's 2-0 Blue Jays. Toronto led 4-0 after 5 innings, and they go on to win it 4-2. And in Texas League Baseball, San Antonio opened a 6-game series in Corpus Christi tonight, and the Missions beat the Hooks 3-1 in 10 innings. San Antonio is now 4-6.
I did not know Sasquatch was a baseball fan.
He is, apparently.
I thought maybe it'd be more soccer. Because, he's got a big foot.
He does.
So I thought maybe soccer would be more
Steve.
his way.
All right. You were thinking about that one. We'll be right back after this.
In the 80s the next few afternoons. 81 tomorrow, 84 Thursday, Friday we're 87, then the changes for the weekend. Unseasonably cool. We'll be running below average. Saturday, nothing but sunshine, low humidity, and 74 the high, then only 70 on Sunday. And by the way, some pop-up afternoon storms tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, but not the kind that'll be washing everybody out. Coverage is going to be very limited.
Just looking at that low humidity this weekend. It's pretty good.
I know. Looking at the high humidity though for Thursday, Fiesta. I'm like, yeah, it should be. It's Fiesta.
Yeah, you should just get used to it.
See you
tomorrow.